evening, Pats Nation, and welcome back to the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage series, where we will give you our recaps and preview shows for the Patriots games throughout the 2025 NFL season. Before we get started with the show, I want to make a few apologies for a couple reasons. Originally, we were supposed to do the show yesterday at 4 p.m., but because we had some technical issues, because it was Halloween, and because today is the final day of daylight savings, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. And I don't know how this will affect Sunday Night Football tomorrow when we play against the Atlanta Falcons at 1 p.m. Well, I would say like at 12 p.m., but we shall find out throughout the entire show. As always, I'm the captain of the ship, Dow, aka DTN, and I got Mr. Andy Schulten and Thomas Noble with me. Boys, how was your Halloween so far?
Well, I gotta say, my Halloween was actually pretty darn good. I did work yesterday. It was, not. I work in retail, not too many customers, but just enough to keep the day going. And then I got home and handed out. It was super windy last night, can I add? But we probably had like 30 or 40 kids come through our neighborhood, which was the most we'd had in a while. And I helped dole out candy, which is always fun.
Yeah.
How about you, Thomas? Hello? Oh, don't tell me Thomas is lagging on me, but...
You on to me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
No, I'm here. So my Halloween's good. My dad literally bought me some Hershey's Kisses and peanut butter cups.
There you go.
But this week was horrendous. Like, this week is horrendous. Like, the whole week I have a wicked bad mental health issues, honestly. I have like a lot of panic attacks. I have a lot of mental breakdowns. So my week has been horrendous, but overall, but I'm all right. I'm still alive, but yeah.
Yeah, this weekend for me, or I would say this week for me, has been hectic. And I agree with you, Eric. I'm on the same board with you. A lot of college papers for this guy in Halloween. Pretty scary if I say so myself. Yeah, I would say something more scary than seeing a ghost or a vampire or even a Green Reaper is college papers. And I had to deal with a crap ton of college papers. And also mentally, I was getting flustered. I was getting annoyed about I was supposed to receive a package, but man, a lot has been going off for me. And granted that I had a couple of great days, but for the past couple of days, it has been off for me, and I wasn't motivated to do the stream. But hey, we're here. It's not that we're here just to force to do content. We're here because we enjoy the content. We're here to provide this content for you, and we really enjoy it. And in the midst of all the crap that has been going on throughout the past week, so my apologies. But nevertheless, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly here on this channel, and we appreciate the support. And please remember to post your questions and comments regarding Patriots and football only. That does not include trolling. Otherwise, you will be kicked out by our mods here. And if you haven't already, please join the link. There we go. Please join the link on the top right corner of our screens. That will show you to the Patriots Clubhouse Discord, where you will introduce yourself, give us a name, your how long you were a Patriots fan for, and your favorite player outside of Tom Brady. But Let's get started with this preview show. we're going up against the Atlanta Falcons. And the last time we played the Atlanta Falcons, it was at the Superdome. No, not the Superdome. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. We beat them 25-0 against a washed-up Matt Ryan, Now we're going up against a Michael Penix or maybe Kirk Cousins, who knows? But
it's 100%. Like, it might be Penix, honestly.
Word on the street is it will be Penix, but it's he's probably going to be a game type decision. So, I trust Vrabel to be prepared for whomever.
Yeah, it's crazy. The only thing we can think about when it comes to the Patriots against the Falcons matchup is 28-3. That's all we know about. 28-3. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah. Tyler said Matt Ryan has had an MVP year that year. Wouldn't say he's washed.
Yeah.
So
are you talking about like 2021 or 2026, Tyler? Because 2021, that was his final season with Atlanta. That's when they drafted Kyle Pitts. That's when they had Arthur Smith as their head coach. Now we're going up against Raheem Morris as a head coach who was, I would say, I think he was the defensive coordinator for the Falcons for a brief moment. And then obviously he was the interim head coach when Dan Quinn got fired and then became the defensive coordinator for the Rams under Sean McVay.
Let me look it up.
So yeah, our last game against them, Dow, as you said, was the 2021 season when we won in a shutout 25-0.
Okay. Yes, the 28-3 game was Matt Ryan's MVP season. But I was talking about the 2021 game where we shut them out. It was Kyle Van Noy.
You're right.
It was Kyle Van Noy's best game, and that's why I had the picture for the thumbnail. But let's talk about the injury report. I'm not gonna look at it too much because we already know who's gonna be out for this game, and that is Ramondre Stevenson. There were news that were reported, Andy, that Dearness Johnson was signed to the practice squad, and now he's going to be elevated to play against the Atlanta Falcons. How do you feel about, even though Dearness Johnson is going to be elevated to play, how do you feel about Travion Henderson starting as a running back one?
I said this in the pre-stream, Dow. I'm really psyched to see Travion Henderson as the running back one. He really balled out against Cleveland. If I just take a look at the stats here,
he rushed for 75 yards. What I saw.
Yeah, I was gonna say 77. Thank you, Thomas. It was 75.
It is like 75, 77. So whatever works here.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see him as the running back one. Of course, we remember that kickoff return for a touchdown he had in the preseason opener. I was at that game live with Austin, and that play was just amazing. But I want to see, how he operates as the running back one, because he said yesterday, oh yeah, he'll miss being on the same field as Mondre, which I actually really like to hear because it means this team is melding, which is one of Vrabel's goals, and we haven't had a team. Even when Brady was the quarterback, we didn't have a team meld together quite as well as this one seems to be. But yeah, I can't wait to see Henderson ball out tomorrow, and I kind of want to see him like he does best with those round, side out. I don't really know what the technical term is. Those outside runs, we'll go like outside the defensive end and then like run down inside the numbers for like 10, 15, 20 yards. So yeah, I'm really psyched to see those type of plays tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I was about to say here, like, the Trevion's the only, like, he's the only directions he could go to is outside left and outside right. He is not a through the gap type of running back what Ramondre is at this point. How is he going to utilize to go to the outside runs? Because how good are the Falcons' defense when it comes to stopping running backs who run outside the left or the right side?
That is a good question. I was going to ask you this: how can Josh McDaniels, with Ramondre Stevenson out. How can Josh McDaniels Thomas change up his offensive schemes when they go up against the Falcons?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, it's like honestly, like Henderson run outside to the left or right side here, but here's my issue here. Like, how is anybody going to stop like the cornerbacks and the quarterbacks and the linebackers on the who's going to be stopping the run? Like, are the Falcons really good stopping the run? Like, I have no idea. I have never watched a Falcons game at all this season, except the one against the Bills, which they did stop the run somewhat. So honestly, I think run outside running from Henderson could be a crucial thing for us. But yeah, without Stevenson, that's gonna be a big issue here. Like, I don't know. We could go with Jennings. I have no idea who else I'm gonna go for when it comes to good at running through the gut. I pretty much to say here, like, we need to be good at running the football, but most importantly, I don't know how good the secondary of the Falcons are, except for Jesse Bates the third, which I'm completely worried about here when it comes to the Falcons defense. Can Drake May actually ball out against the Falcons D at this rate?
I think there's another player in the secondary that I do know, and that is AJ Terrell, who was the former first rounder out of Clemson in 2020. I do remember AJ Terrell. They also do have Jesse Bates, who is having his worst season so far of allowing 4 touchdowns, and he's having his worst coverage grade of a 55.4. They also have a rookie in Billy Bowman, who I think is a better safety in my opinion. But Tyler summarized it perfectly. Falcons are like you mean Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Basically, what he meant is Falcons are more of a hot and cold team when you think about it. At one point they're going to be good, and then at another point they're going to look like shit. That is basically the Atlanta Falcons. Like, for example, they beat up a good Buffalo Bills team. They did get shut out by a Panthers team who we did beat. They got exposed against the Dolphins team, but that was when Kirk Cousins was the quarterback one in that game, going up against Miami Dolphins, who has so many issues. But this Atlanta Falcons team, I knew it from the get-go that they're not going to be a good team because you don't know how consistent they're going to be. So we're going up against one of the, if not the most weirdest teams in the league so far. Would you agree with me, Andy?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you, Dow. By the way, I looked it up. If their run defense ranks 22nd in the league, they allow an average of 126.4 yards per game, and their chief weakness is non-traditional runs. So if we can run a Hendy around, swing him around the outside on their run defense, fingers crossed we're okay. But yeah, you mentioned that. I remember in the Belichick Brady heydays, we were really good at beating hit or miss teams, even if they were on paper, in theory, better than we were, as these Falcons are. Look, on the offense, they've got Bijan Robinson, they've got Drake London, they've got Kyle Pitts, they got Michael Penix showing some promises here. They got a lot of good guys on the defense. We don't have a Drake London per se on the offense. We don't have a Bijan Robinson. But we do have a Drake May, and, it'll be interesting to see how, he fares against Atlanta's top 3 pass defense. And we do have Harold Landry, Milton Williams, the run stuffers we have. I mean, they're the reason we have not allowed a runner to go over 50 yards on us this year. So,
which I'm surprised.
Me too. I mean, the Falcons are no doubt going to try and figure out how to scheme Bijan Robinson against this defense. But yeah, I think, the fact it just seems like Vrabel will be ready for a hit or miss team, even if they're on, because he's just that type of coach. He doesn't, it doesn't matter if it's Tennessee or it's Baltimore. He's going up against an NFL team, no more, no less. So yeah, I'm actually, the fact that the Falcons are hit or miss leaves me cautiously optimistic about tomorrow's game.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the Falcons, I looked at this website called tankathon.com, which would literally talk the draft and stuff here, which I always look at. When I look at the Patriots' freaking strength of schedule, honestly, I know the Falcons are a hot and cold team, but they literally put the Falcons as one of the one of the easiest opponents, which
touching they shut up. Carolina shut them out. Go ahead, Dom.
I was gonna say the Atlanta Falcons never won at Gillette Stadium ever. Even like we own them on the road too. It's like, when was even the last time we lost to the Falcons ever?
It was 1998.
1998.
Correct.
I
just happened to look that up. Yep.
It's crazy when you think about it, but I'm looking at.
I was not even born at this point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I wasn't even born either, but I was just going to say, going up against the Dolphins last week at their place, Bijan Robinson, beating the lead carrier, only had 9 carries for 25 yards up against one of the worst defenses. More importantly, one of the worst teams in the league.
One of the worst run defenses, and Bijan only has 24 yards. Whoa.
So we got to.
I know. I don't know how the Dolphins won, but anyway, they just lost to the Ravens. So
right,
moving over there.
So if we can if we can expose the Falcons, that is going to be that's going to be important. But let's take a look at the Falcons injury report. So the ones who are out are Billy Bowman, Zach Harrison, Storm Norton, and Casey Washington. Billy Bowman being the rookie cornerback from this year. He's gonna be out. So I think it's just going to be AJ Terrell on the secondary. So I'm not concerned about anybody, but the questionable, they have Jesse Bates. He's gonna be questionable. Edge rusher Jalen Walker, the rookie, current first rounder rookie, and then you got Leonard Floyd, who both are going to be questionable for this team. So anybody on the edge, Thomas, do we have to worry about? Because I know it's going to be him, but there's another player I know who's on the edge rush. I think his name is James Pierce, the guy who was said to have character issues. Would Will Campbell have to go up against... Wait, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, do you think Will Campbell will go up against Jalen Walker if he's playing, or James Pierce?
I'd say, I don't know. I would say either both of them, because honestly, Walker's good, but James Pierce, oh my goodness, man. You guys know I watch college football a lot. For 12 years I watched college football. But when I watched James Pierce played at Tennessee last season, I don't care about his character issues. The dude could actually play good defense. That is the one, besides Jesse Bates, that's the one play I'm way more concerned about. Can Campbell withstand that? Because last season, he literally get belt to ass by Myles Garrett. Which is not his fault, because, again, what are you supposed to do against Myles Garrett, who's probably the best defensive players in the league?
Pierce is a hybrid linebacker, by the way.
Yeah, I hope this is a bounce back game for Will Campbell, considering that Will Campbell has never had a bad game except for that Browns game, and
which is not his fault. Like, he's not the one at fault here at this point at that game. Like, honestly, what are you supposed to do against Myles Garrett? Okay, like, if people are blaming him, like, if people still blame him over the fact he got allowed those sacks to Drake May, I'm sorry. What the fuck is wrong with you? This is his first game. This is his first bad game as an offensive tackle for this team. And he's a rookie, 20 years old. Like, dude, give him a break. This is his first bad game, and that is against Myles Garrett, who's a all-pro, Pro Bowl defensive end. You're going against the Falcons, who literally have James Pierce, Leonard Floyd, and the defensive line that has been notorious the last time I checked.
Not only that, the Falcons lost Grady Jarrett. I think that's what his name was, to the Chicago Bears. He was the defensive tackle. So I think that this should be easy this should be an easier matchup for this offensive line, but the question is, can they bounce back going up against the Falcons defense? But let's now take a look at the roster for the I don't want the roster. I want the depth chart, because the depth chart is what is going to give us an idea of who we're going up against. And we're going back to normal, which is we're going to start looking at the Falcons offense and then looking at the defense. So we'll look at depth chart. So as we know that Michael Penix is potentially going to be playing. And what we do know is that Michael Penix struggles when it comes to throwing deep balls. I want to ask you this, Andy. How can these cornerbacks, especially when you have like Christian Gonzalez, we got rid of Duggar. We now have, we have Woodson and Hawkins being in the coverage. How can they take advantage of Penix's inopportunities to throw deep balls?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think I know what you're asking. I'm just not sure how to phrase it. I'm sorry. I think Penix is all right. Let me get my thoughts together here. I just think that, I know this sounds juvenile, but they ought to position when defending a quarterback who can't throw a deep ball. I think just pretty much get between, the running back and the wide receiver to try to cut off the route. I mean, because that way, maybe the receiver will miss a block and Penix will get picked off. Yeah, I mean, that's the most I can say. And I mean, watching Jalen Hawkins making that amazing pick last week against Dylan Gabriel, who, and it was on a deep ball attempt, oddly enough. I think Hawkins could be really advantageous and, as a deep ball defender we saw him last week against Dylan Gabriel, and maybe tomorrow against Michael Penix, he could, have a similar pick in that game.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Penix Jr.'s stats ever since I think it was game 7, because I think he had like an injury of some sorts. But based off I'm looking at his stats, he has a 61% completion percentage, 6 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He has a passer rating of an 85.2. He has more turnovers than Drake Maye by 1. He has fewer 20-yard completions at about 3, while Drake Maye has 18. So that says a lot of how Drake Maye has a better arm than Michael Penix. And safe to say is when we go up against rookie quarterbacks, Thomas, what is this problem with in the first quarter of this defense not doing a good job?
He is now technically a second year, by the way.
Well,
yeah, this is Penix's second year. Yeah, his first year, I'm pretty sure, was last season when he was takeover for Cousins, who,
correct,
in my opinion, worst contract for him, for Kirk Cousins. He was at first half, the first quarter of the season, he was doing great. He put up monster stats. He could have been an MVP conversation, but then to the second, third quarter of the season, way down the drain.
Yeah. But I was going to
And
ask
then,
you.
there comes Penix. This is a kid who I know because I watched him play at Washington. That he was played at Indiana, where we began, despite his injury issues. And then he transferred to Washington, which they made Washington a national championship contender, which I'm completely surprised. So I thought that Penix could be probably a top 10 quarterback and probably a top 5 quarterback in this year's draft in the 2023 draft class. Or wait, 2024 draft, 2023, 2024 draft class. I have no fucking clue.
2024.
Thank you.
No problem.
But he has an up and down year, and people say he's a bust. I not gonna call that yet. He never had a like this is one of Penix's weird seasons. Some of the times he played good football. Some of the times he has not played well. Honestly, I cannot even blame Penix.
He's a streaky quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. But like it probably depends on how good he plays and also the offensive line that has been non-existent. But however, again, Penix, again, his injury issues, I do not want to put him in a bust conversation, which I'm sorry. This is his second season. Not going to say that he's a bust. He's a good quarterback. He's another good lefty quarterback. Probably, in my opinion, way better than Tua.
And also, I would assume way better than Gabriel too, because he's also lefty too. But I want to ask you this, Thomas. My mistake that Penix is a second-year quarterback, but is it going to be natural that the defense is going to look like crap in the first quarter? Because that's been a running gag. I wouldn't say running gag, but that's like the same old story when it comes to like this Patriots defense, where they look like horrific in the first quarter, or maybe the first half, I would say. And then, no, I would say the first quarter. Yeah, the first quarter. Is it going to be natural that for now that the Patriots defense is going to look like crap in the first quarter and then look destructive throughout the rest of the game?
It's a freaking narrative here. The Patriots are going to be horseshit in the first quarter because honestly, we have these jitters again. Honestly, just we should be pissed off about that.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting you, Thomas. So I'm sorry. You may want to refresh your screen, but maybe Andy, you can answer this question for me. What is this problem with the Patriots defense in the first quarter? And you're muted.
Yeah, we've had that problem in 6 out of 8 games now, and I don't know why. We just we have sluggish starts, and we talked about this in our Browns post-game show. We did it against Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers. Not too much of a surprise. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. And then onto that list, you add Bryce Young, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler, and Dylan Gabriel. Those are not exactly, yeah, a lot of them are younger guys, but they're not what I would call good quarterbacks. And let me put a yet on that. Like Thomas said, we don't want to call these guys busts. They're still young. But yeah, this sluggish defensive start, I think it could be potentially a problem against a team with the caliber offense that the Falcons could possibly have. In their pass defense, like last week, the Browns won the toss. They deferred. If you win the toss against a pass defense like that, I would take the ball, because I wouldn't trust an offense of this caliber to get up 7-0 and and not let that lead go. I don't know how the Falcons have done off of scoring first this year, but obviously they did it. They didn't do it when the Panthers beat them like 30-0, 28-0, whatever that score was. But yeah, that it's definitely something we need to work on, and Vrabel as much as admitted that after last week's game.
So when it comes to like matchups, and I know that Gonzo is going to be locking on Drake London as far as we know. Could you see? Do you think that Penix is might gonna throw the ball more to Mooney and maybe Pitts, or maybe give Bijan Robinson more reps, because we know how Gonzo is in coverage and how he can lock up man to man.
Yeah, if Gonzo can completely take London out of the game, I see a lot of Bijan, potentially a lot of Bijan, and I do see a lot of Kyle Pitts. And one of our weaknesses is defending tight ends. We saw it with the Browns. We saw it with the Panthers. We saw it to an extent in the Buffalo game. This Vrabel defense, this fairly stout passing defense, I think we're top 10 if I'm not mistaken, is struggles stopping tight ends. So I can see them, if London is taken out. What's with the F, Thomas?
I think he is referring to his Wi-Fi or his internet.
Yeah, Wi-Fi sucks, man. Anyway, but yeah, I can see if London is taken out. I can see if London is taken out, them throwing ball after ball to Kyle Pitts, which could potentially be a problem.
Yeah, I'm the thing with
on short to intermediate routes, like 5 to 10 yards.
Yeah, now that we lost Kyle Duggar, well, we traded Kyle Duggar to the Steelers and lost Jabril Peppers to the Steelers. How are these new safeties that we have? Because we signed rookie John Saunders Jr. from the Miami Dolphins practice squad. You still have Del Pettis, and you still have Richie Grant, who's currently in the practice squad. How are we going to cover Kyle Pitts? That's the biggest question. Because,
by the way, we are the 19th ranked pass defense. Atlanta's first.
Jeez. But yeah, Andy, how can You're good, Thomas. I'll ask you this: how can we stop Kyle Pitts now that Duggar's out of the picture, now out of the roster? Would you see a lot more of Del Pettis locking onto Kyle Pitts?
For Thomas or me?
I don't. No, I don't see Pettis guarding Pitts. It has to be somebody who can actually keep up with him.
Yeah, I'd like to see maybe. Actually, no, I don't want to see Pettis on Pitts because that'd be.
Because
that's interesting.
Because Hawkins and Woodson have been doing a mediocre job against tight ends, and now we have John Saunders Jr. And I'm looking at John Saunders Jr., who is with the Miami Dolphins practice squad. I don't know what John Saunders can do. I don't know, Tom, if you watch any Ole Miss gameplay, because John Saunders was the captain for the Ole Miss Rebels.
He's a solid player.
Do you think that John Saunders can stop Kyle Pitts, or basically we need to have a corner or maybe a linebacker going up against Kyle Pitts because we suck at coverage?
I mean, he could do it, but we need a legit guy on Pitts, because Pitts, in my opinion, he's above mid. Like, he is. Most people say he's trash, but he's not. Like, he's one of these serviceable tight ends that can deliver you big games.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the thing with Kyle Pitts, and I don't know why. Like, he was supposed to be this generational tight end out of Florida, but my thought process with that, when Kyle Pitts was drafted, he was supposed to be this unicorn that everybody calls him when he was a rookie. And ever since then, ever since that final season with Matt Ryan, he does not look the same as far as we know. And yeah, it's crazy when you talk. It's crazy when we think about it. Like Kyle Pitts, he's one of those weird guys. Like he had a great rookie season. He got into the Pro Bowl, but ever since then, I don't know if Kyle Pitts is going to get extended. That's going to be the question because I think Kyle Pitts is like their only weapon at this point. If Drake London gets stopped by Gonzo at this point in the passing game. Let's not talk about Bijan Robinson. And I know let's shift over to Bijan Robinson because
oh my god. Bijan Mustardson.
Because I'm looking at this particular stat. Where we're the only team since 1950s to prevent a running back from gaining 50 yards. With this, do you think, Andy, this streak is going to end with Bijan Robinson?
Well, that's a good question because I would have probably bet last week that, the streak would end against Quinshon Judkins. And it didn't, but then Quinshon Judkins is a rookie. Bijan Robinson was drafted in, I believe, 2023. If I can just quickly look that up. Bijan Robinson was in fact drafted in 2023. So, yeah. I think there is at least a 50-50 chance that streak does end tomorrow. I hope it does not. But if Drake London can be taken out of the game, if some defense can be put on Kyle Pitts, that entire Atlanta offense is going to run through Bijan Robinson. And if that does become the case, then I don't see the streak keeping going. I mean, I could see us holding him to, maybe under 60 or 70 rushing yards. But if that offense has to run through him, no, I see that streak ending.
To me, the streak might end when we play the Bucks. Honestly, I mean, we could hold Bijan to like about 40 yards or so here, but the Bucks running game. I'm sorry. I think that our streak ends when we play the Bucks. Bucky Irving, freaking I don't know who, Richard.
Irving's been hurt,
but most likely he could return this week or next week. What I heard.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting is that I thought the streak would end with James Cook, but for some reason Joe Brady can't utilize James Cook for some other reason. I thought that this is a weird question because Tyler says it himself. They don't know how to use a lot of players to their potential, and that was the problem ever since Kyle Shanahan left. Because under Arthur Smith and now under Zach Robinson, who is touted to be the coach to be their offensive coordinator, nothing has changed with this Falcons offense. And I can't tell it. Everybody said, we got to take care of Bijan Robinson. We got to take care of Kyle Pitts. The one thing I think the Patriots should take care of is how to exploit the misusage of offensive players. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to like bad coaching, I would say. Would you agree with this, Thomas? Would you agree that this could be bad coaching for the Falcons since they're not utilizing their offensive players to their potential?
It's up and down. Sometimes bad coaching, sometimes it's good coaching, but it's a mixed bag at this point.
Yeah, it is a mixed bag in my opinion because I don't know with this Falcons team. Like everybody says that they would think that the Falcons would be number one in this division, but I believe the Bucs would win the division no matter what because this Falcons team confuses me a whole lot. And I don't know why, but whenever the Patriots play the Falcons, we all know what's going to happen. It's like a 28-3 game, but
this game, I still think it's close because I know the Falcons are right there. They're like right there to be good, but they're hot and cold. But still, I would not say it's a blowout at this rate. So
yeah, it's hard to call the blowout, but they did get shut out and blowout at the same time by the Panthers. They just got blow up by one of the worst teams in the league, in the Dolphins. But the thing is, they beat the Bills, which kind of doesn't make any sense.
I know. I think part of me thinks this could be not a get right game, a comeback game for them. Because I can't imagine they don't. Here's an offense with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I can't imagine they look at Miami and think that's a good team that beat them a week ago. I mean, like this is the NFL we're talking about, but yeah. What was it? The score either 30-10, 32-10, something like that. Yeah.
34-10 on the 32.
34-10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is something I don't get here. Like the 2025 season, like usually 2023, 2024, we see teams have been playing good, like the Falcons, but 2025 is a weird ass season.
It is
a weird ass season.
I mean, the AFC is a wide open. Like I was trying to think this through in my head the other day. There are like 12 teams in the AFC, 11 or 12 teams that could legit be in the playoff mix right now. Obviously, we know only what?
I said I know. Because
we know only 7 will make it. But what do you throw out? The Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Raiders. The Jags could squeak in. You can't count out Kansas City. You can't count out Baltimore. You can't count out Denver. The Chargers. I mean, the Chargers. Who would think that?
The Chargers are kind of banged up because their O-line is banged up, but
and they lost. And they've lost Hampton for the season, I believe. But
yeah, but I hate to say it. Do not count out the Colts. You saw what this team is.
I just don't. If I never remember the phrase, but hey, if Daniel Jones does not turn into Danny Pennies by week 15 or 16, I will be darned. I mean, I'm going to say it. I think one of these weeks, that man is going to crumple into an MMFN pretzel. But hey.
Yeah, this dude.
Here we are.
Yeah, this dude came up for the Giants, and now look at him. The Giants ruined him, and now that he turned into he's probably going to be Combat Player of the Year because of that damn Colts.
I agree.
I just don't see. I don't know.
Let's not get off topic here because
let's not go off on too much of a tangent.
Sorry.
Playoff race is something to talk about later.
But going back to the Falcons, this is one of the teams that I cannot decipher in a sense. Like, I still don't understand why there are fans that still think that the Falcons will win the NFC South. Granted that because
who's saying that?
I don't know. I saw a couple of analysts.
Over Tampa Bay? No.
They're not the worst teams in their division. That would be the Saints.
Yeah. Basically, this NFC South division has been one of the most peculiar divisions you will ever imagine. But let's go back to this offense for this Falcons. Excuse me. I'm looking at this roster. I can see London locking up. Gonzo locking up London. Excuse me. Davis, if he bounces back, especially when he's trying to get healthy, going up against Mooney, I could see a lot of Mooney getting production. I want to ask you this, guys. I'll ask Andy first. If Bijan gets stopped, would you see the Falcons using some of Tyler Algier too? Because Tyler Algier
Yes.
and Robinson are a
100%. I see them using him because if Robinson, they have that's borders on a two-headed monster they have down there at running back. If one team can punch out Robinson, Tyler, I will call him, can easily pick up the pieces that are left there by Bijan being nullified. I mean, he is a massive red zone threat. So if they get into the red zone, say Atlanta gets inside the 20, watch out for, and call him Algier. I guess that is the way he pronounces it, though.
It's Algier. Yep.
I have to see him. I have to see the Falcons using him as a red zone running back. Well, I would think, Bijan is more of a long field running back. So
Yep.
there I go.
Yes.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I can see if the Patriots manage to stop Bijan Robinson, I can see Zach Robinson cooking up and using some Tyler Algier. So you got to keep an eye. If we could stop them both and prevent them to go at least 30 yards, that would be the most impressive defensive line ever. But then again, this streak might end next week or this week. Anything could change in a matter of minutes. So it's always important to be really consistent and be a more disciplined team all around. But quickly, let's look at the offensive line and then we'll shift over to the defense. But looking at this offensive line, it's not as scary as you think either, because the only notable players that I know Jake Matthews. He was a former first rounder back in 2014, I think. Chris Lindstrom, he was a former first rounder back in 2019 with the Boston College Eagles. I got it. Other than these guys, I don't see a threat on this offensive line.
Yeah, except Neusel is a decent center, from what I've heard. Thomas, how about you?
To be honest, I'm looking at Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. Like I was hoping for it was the 2023 draft. I was hoping we grab Bergeron as our guard at this point because I was high on this dude, but I'm just kind of fear of him here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see anything because I can see but the thing is, this offensive line is not terrible, but I can see if this defensive line, it doesn't apply a lot of pressure, there's going to be some issues because so far we don't have this is just high expectations for me, but we haven't got like a player that got up to like 10 sacks since Matthew Judon. But Barmore had like 8.5 sacks in 2023 before the blood clot. So the thing is, I want to see this defensive line apply more pressure in the beginning of the game. But then again, I don't understand why we keep on allowing this mediocre offenses to score on us in the beginning. But then again, the first quarter can look like frauds because the important quarters are usually the third quarter and the fourth quarter, as far as we know. But when it comes to this Patriots defense, we can't capitalize on our opportunities when we play defense against mediocre teams, and that is the problem with this team. And I hope that we do well up against a competent team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week when we go fly to Tampa Bay next week. So this is going to be really important for this defense, especially this defensive line, to apply a lot of pressure onto this on the Falcons offense. Because if I can remember, I want to look at the stats. I want to look at this game. But then again, that Falcons team had, and I mean had Kirk Cousins as the starting quarterback. But I think that Kirk Cousins is washed at this point. We can all safely say that Kirk Cousins is washed.
Yep.
Yes.
But let's now shift over to the Falcons defense. As far as I don't know anybody from this defense, so this defensive line, I don't know anything
except Caden Ellis. I know Jalen Walker. I know Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, and Billy Bowman. That's about it.
Yep. Watts is a big prospect.
Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, he is a freaking lockdown safety. I believe he came out of this year's draft.
Yep. 2025.
He came from a Notre Dame team who just made it to the national championship last season, I believe, against Ohio State.
Yep.
He's a lockdown corner. I know that for sure because Notre Dame is known to build good players, especially on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. Watts is your first example. So that the one guy I might be feared of the most out of Bates, out of freaking
Bates is
Ellis.
questionable, so and he has been looking at his worst. He allowed 4 touchdowns. He had his worst coverage grade. The one other player outside of Xavier Watts is AJ Terrell, the former first rounder out of Clemson in 2020. So never underestimate AJ Terrell as one of the, I would say like a top 15 corner in my opinion, because AJ Terrell did play for I'm correct. He did play for Clemson. And he was drafted in the first round, 16th overall. He was a former second-team All-Pro back in 2021, so never underestimate AJ Terrell.
Yeah, but besides the defense here, besides Watts here, I just don't see anyone to fear of the most besides Watts here. And also here, Bates allowed 4 touchdowns, and I'm sorry at this point. Venus Flytrap 1. I'm sorry. Bates is not going to intercept Drake May. I'm going to say this right now. He's not going to intercept Drake May.
Yeah, this is the same defense that allowed 34 points to Tua turn the ball over.
Turn the ball over.
Correct.
So this defense is so weird in a sense that
they beat
lose to turn the ball over, who just allow another nasty pick against the Baltimore Ravens. So
and then Miami got blown out 2 weeks ago by the Browns. I mean, really. And then you come back to
the fucking Browns.
And then you come back and you beat this Atlanta team. I mean, it's partly because Kirk Cousins was playing quarterback, but
yes,
still.
This is the Falcons defense that only got 1 sack onto Tua. This is the same defense that allowed above 2. They say that they prevent quarterbacks from going above 200 passing yards. This is the same defense that allowed 67 yards from Devon Achane. This is the same defense that allowed Jalen Waddle to get 99 yards and a touchdown. And this is the same defense that can't even get a takeaway off of Tua turn the ball over.
Yes.
But let's get back to this. Let's get back to this offense. So when we take a look at this defensive line from the Falcons, will this be an easier match for Will Campbell and the rest of the youngsters on this offensive line, Thomas?
I don't know. That this is the reason I went like this at this point. It's an iffy matchup at this point, but I think Campbell will handle it. You're gonna get it's not Myles Garrett. Would you allow 5? Which this whole offensive line allow 5 to 6 damn sacks. I just don't see this defense out of the Falcons allow 3 sacks. I say only 1 at the minimum.
1, maybe 2. Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to this Falcons Falcons matchup, I'm going to say this. This is going to be another revenge game for Austin Hooper.
Because he was drafted from there?
Correct. He was, and he had a touchdown in Super Bowl 51. Yeah, we were talking about revenge games for former Raiders, especially Josh McDaniels in the season opener. We know how that went. Now we're at week 9. Yeah, that is something I would really like to see Dow as a revenge game from Austin Hooper. And was it against the Browns? I think he had a really good game.
Yep.
Yes. Well, he did get a touchdown against the former Titans. I know that for sure. And yes, he did have an impressive game against the Browns. I know that for sure, too. Hold on. Let me just take care of this. But forgive us, guys. If you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's really appreciated, and it helps support the channel massively. And if you haven't already, please join the Discord server. You can scan this QR code in the top right of the screen for you to join the Discord server. But in the meantime, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I wish Austin was here, but yes, Austin did had a power outage, which is why he couldn't come today. So yeah, it's unfortunate. But nevertheless, let's continue with this matchup. Let's see what we need to worry about. So with Kayshon Boutte having another game, do you see Kayshon Boutte getting another touchdown this game? Because he's been really consistent ever since that Saints game. Andy.
He's been extremely consistent, and I definitely see like Diggs. I see as more of the deep threat guy, whereas Boutte I see as more like I said with the Falcons. Algier is your red zone running back. With the Pats, Boutte, gosh, yeah, is your red zone wide receiver. So it depends on if we get into the red zone, whether or not I think we see a touchdown from him. But yeah, I think a Kayshon Boutte touchdown, if I were to bet on it, I would on at least one drive.
I want to ask you this, Thomas. The problem with this offense last game was not doing a great job in the red zone. Can we improve by scoring or making plays in the red zone? Because we had an impressive, no, not impressive. We had a horrific performance against the Browns when it comes to the red zone. If I look at the stats, the stats, we were 2-6 from scoring in the red zone, and 3-11 when converting third down. Could this be a possibility that we can improve by converting third down and in the red zone?
Yes, because we got our weapons, including, if I can play this right here. Come, stupid audio bug. What the fuck?
I wish I could upgrade StreamYard for this, but oh well. I know who you're talking about. But please explain why this player will make a difference in the red zone.
Never mind, I got it. Thank God, there we fucking go. Ugh. Anyway, him with Amandre out, we got Trevion who can play well. Stephon Diggs, who got his first touchdown, which I do see he'll get another one in the red zone. If we just play conservative football in the red zone, which we didn't do last week, we should handle the Falcons defense in the red zone.
Yes, for sure. And do you think we could do a better job in the run? Well, granted that, can we do a better job in the run game? Can you see Henderson having another breakout game? Except not HB diving like we've been always doing. Because for some apparent reason, Josh McDaniels, for the love of God, can you stop running these HB drives? Especially in that 2-minute drive.
It wasn't a 2-minute drive. It was on 1st and goal. What was it on? In that New Orleans game, they had 1st and goal at the 1 and ran a halfback draw. It was like, ooh. And somebody in the main chat said classic McDaniels, and I was like, what the heck? Like, yeah, do you pull a quarterback sneak on 1st and goal from the 1? Hello. I've never coached football, let alone played, and that's a no-brainer of a call.
Yeah, but we got to take advantage of this Falcons. I'm going to say this. We got to take advantage of this Falcons team that hasn't won since that Buffalo game. Because if I'm looking at the they're looking at the record. They lost to a Mac Jones 49ers. They lost to a turn the ball over to turn the ball over.
Turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm. We gotta take advantage of this, especially when we had an abysmal performance in the red zone, and we gotta improve that. I hope Mike Vrabel, nips it in the bud when it comes to the run zone defense. But I want to ask you this, Thomas. Let's shift over to officiating, and I don't think we touch on officiating at all and throughout the series. But I know you are vocal about this. Explain to the audience why you hate this particular referee who's going to be refereeing that game.
Brad fucking Allen, in my opinion, is the worst human being I ever, at this point, as a football fan. He's the worst referee ever, and you know why? Because he fucking refed the screwed up fucking result between the Cowboys and the Lions, which is a controversial fucking game, which his crew banned or suspended from the playoffs. He made stupid calls that is just controversial and ridiculous. That is the reason why I fucking hate him. Till this day, I always hate Brad Allen. He should never step foot in the football field as a referee. He should never step foot in the Patriots game, in my opinion. He's the worst referee, in my opinion, ever.
So he really got suspended from those playoffs because the call on that Dallas-Detroit game was that, and I remember that call. I
remember that. He was also the same referee for that Eagles-Dolphins game where the Eagles had 0 penalties while the Dolphins had more penalties. This was the same ref who refereed that Packers-Chiefs game where I hate the Chiefs, but he was favoring the Packers a lot, and I remember that game. But I'm gonna read this. The ban was lifted in the 2024 playoffs, but Allen and his crew were like shit again, and for this reason. Between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers, they proceeded to make another controversial call in the game, ruling that a fumble that appeared to be recovered by Packers kick returner Nixon was recovered by the Eagles. They stuck with their call after the review showed the ball had, in fact, been recovered by Nixon. This led to suggestions that a further ban might be necessary. Yeah. That definitely backs up your proof, Thomas, for why he's by far my least favorite referee next to that other referee who refereed that Saints game.
Adrian Hill.
He's the worst. Like Adrian Hill's not one of the worst, but one of the worst is freaking Brad Allen. And I hate that son of a bitch.
Not gonna lie, there was another referee that I hated the most outside of him, and that was Traw Blake. He refereed that Viking. Not get off topic with refereeing, but Traw Blake, he was the other referee who's in that Falcons-Chiefs game. He has been favoring the Chiefs over the Falcons. And then in 2024, during a regular season game between the Vikings and the Rams, Blake controversially missed the face mask penalty when Rams linebacker Byron Young brought down quarterback Sam Darnold in the end zone for a safety. And because of that, he has been reassigned back to the umpire position. But I want to briefly talk about this. Is going to be off topic, boys. And before we get to the predictions, everybody, let's briefly talk about this one particular topic that has been spiraling around as of late. and it has to do with the gambling that has been going on.
Yeah.
Mind discussing it, Andy, for what the hell's been going on? Since we all know that the NBA has been dealing with this gambling scandal, could there be a possibility that referees are going to be
100%? And somebody, I think it was Tyler, who brought that up during the Saints game, that gambling is leading referees to fix and throw NFL games. Which, I mean, what if gambling is going to have that much of an influence? Why not render refereeing moot? Or either that, or just have referees on the field to make sure the players stay safe. And okay, does an entire new book need to be written on what's a foul and what is not? Yeah, I don't know. Guys.
It's so frustrating because
it's very frustrating.
Because we all know that the NBA has been, as we all know, we're not getting confused with NFL and NBA, but NBA has been dealing with this gamble investigation with a couple of coaches and a player, which leads to their connection with
coaches and players, really. Oh, brother.
Players and coaches.
I can't remember who. Yeah, it was Terry Rozier, I'm pretty sure, who was accused, and Chauncey Billups, who's the coach for the Trailblazers.
I will not be surprised if this happens with the referees, because for some reason, every year they have the tendency to create new calls that are so controversial. Like, we all know about the hip drop tackle ban, which has been taking place, and it was impossible for defensive players. No matter what happens with this referees, it seems like Vegas has been manipulating the referees. No matter what New York calls and saying that, oh, this should be a penalty and all that, I have no idea what, and excuse my French, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with this NFL officiating.
Yeah, it's not just Patriots games. I mean, there's been some, and I've noticed missed calls, like in that it was a few years ago, 3 years ago, I think it was, in the playoffs, that New Orleans Rams game.
Oh, it was.
Don't even remind about that. There was that missed pass interference call, which the referees missed, which is ass cheeks.
Yeah, we all knew that, but also, and then that Cowboys Lions game. But I'm talking about recently, last week, the Eagles Giants game. That was one of the worst.
Oh, that brotherly shove. It was completely like. What was it? I forget. Like, there's now talk that they'll ban. We shouldn't get off on too much of a tangent here, guys. But there is a point that what will kill the brotherly shove is not the way the Eagles play it. It's the way the NFL and officiating is handling it. They don't know how to call the flipping thing.
Yeah, there was a fumble which the referees missed, and they didn't call it.
And it was recovered by the Giants, clearly.
Yeah, another game that also pissed us off was the offside penalty from the Packers. From Sean Hockley. But man, let's not get overreact. We can do another episode on officiating, but for another time, if this continues to go off rails this upcoming week, because I'm hoping and praying that we don't get another shitty performance from the NFL officials. But let's now shift over to game predictions. Everybody can participate here in the chat, and I want to hear your thoughts with your game predictions. But I'll start with you, Andy, then Thomas, and then I can.
Okay. So, like I just said, Atlanta has the top pass defense. We have the 19th ranked pass defense. Now, if I look up run defense here, hold on a sec, bear with me. NFL defense, here we go. Overall, total defense, Atlanta's number 2. The Pats are number 9. A little bit closer there. If I go to the run, the Pats are number 2. Pats are the second-ranked run defense behind the Seattle Seahawks. Having allowed 70, very close. Seattle 75-7, New England 76. The Falcons are the 22nd ranked, as I said earlier, run defense. So those are almost the pass and the run defenses are kind of flipped there. So, with all things considered, this Atlanta offense and Penix probably playing, and them probably seeking a comeback win, if you will, after losing to Miami. And then we got to consider Vrabel's coaching. I think this is going to be a close game. Between the pass and run defenses, I think we have a chance at stopping Bijan Robinson. They do have Tyler Algier, who, like I said, is a red zone threat. I'm going to go out and say here 24-21 New England. It's whoever wins the red zone battle is going to win this game. And I have to give the edge to Mike Vrabel over Raheem Morris by the slightest of margins.
What was your final score?
24-21.
24-21.
Correct.
Thomas?
It's going to be a close game.
We're the 4th-ranked scoring defense, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game as well.
Falcons 3rd. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game as well. I don't trust the easiest schedule thing because, honestly, the Falcons are not easy. Like, they're, like, up and down. They're, like, right in the middle here. I wish there was a thing called middle of the pack when it comes to the schedule, the strength of schedule. The Falcons are up and down, so I don't know what to trust at this point. We got to play well before we play Tampa, which I'm really scared about facing because Tampa's fucking good.
Baker Mayfield.
Yes. But despite our first quarter woes, it's going to continue, which I do not want to say it. I think we'll bounce back in the second quarter and the second half of the game. It's going to be close. I say Patriots 28, Falcons 24.
Interesting.
28-24. This is one of the most interesting games ever. I don't understand. This is going to be controversial, and I'll explain why. Before I take my take, I just want to look at this. The last time the Falcons score above 20 points was against that Buffalo game. Ever since then, they only scored 10 points. 10 meaningless points against both the 49ers and the Dolphins. One being an injury team and the other one being a shitty team. I will say this is going to be controversial. And I'll explain why. My final score is going to be 31-13. And here's why. The Falcons haven't scored more than 24, or I'll say more than 30 points since the Washington game and the Buffalo game. And they put up only a meaningless 10 points. This could be a case if Mike Vrabel's defense could take advantage of Zach Robinson's inability to utilize their star players on offense. This is going to be huge for this Patriots team in general. To put them the same amount of points that we did against all other bad teams.
Didn't London have an injury, though, within the past 2 weeks?
Yes, he did. So that is a good point because I haven't seen because London was out for the majority of it. So that does explain it. But if Gonzo could stop London, this could mean a lot. This could mean a lot for this team.
And the run defense can stop Robinson. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting one.
This is going to be an interesting one. So my final score is 31-13. It's controversial, but I had to back up with the evidence that I had.
There you go.
Right.
Tyler said 24-14 Pats. But at some point, we could be 28-3.
God fucking damn it.
28-3. Let's not bring up 28-3.
Do not bring that up when we're down 23 to the damn Falcons at Super Bowl 51. So don't even bring that up. And just
82-yard pick six by Robert Alford.
yeah, and because of that, Galp, you get an F.
All right. Withdrawn.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode here of the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage. We will be back Monday at 8 p.m. for the post-game show. We gotta make sure we've been sorry that Austin hasn't been. This is the first preview show I would say that Austin hasn't shown up, because generally it's usually me, Austin, and Thomas, but there are a couple times where Andy subbed in. But because of the mishaps with like our scheduling and whatnot, it has been crazy. But I really thank you, all of you guys, for the support, regardless of our shitty schedules, regardless of like the circumstances that have been going on. But it would be nice if you guys click the like button. It would also be nice if you click the subscribe button. It's completely free and helps us grow significantly here on this channel. It would also be appreciated if you join our Patriots Clubhouse Discord server, where you introduce yourself, give us a rundown of how long you were a Patriots fan for, and what was your favorite moment, and also your favorite player outside of Tom Brady. And those are basically what you have to do to join our Discord, and you will be qualified automatically to join our giveaways, our monthly giveaways. It could be range for cards or whatever, but it would be appreciated if you click the subscribe button and click the like button. And as always, guys,
let's go.